Get this, adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Wondery. Greenlight.com/Wondery. Looking for your best sleep ever? Sleep Number smart beds are literally made for you. They adapt to your changing needs. So whether you're dealing with sore muscles or running hot at night, your bed automatically adjusts for optimal comfort. Want softer, firmer, cooler, warmer? With personalized firmness settings and temperature control that cools up to 20 times faster than leading competitors, you'll get the perfect sleep environment every night. Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? So you can choose your ideal comfort on either side. And now it's the Sleep Number Everything Smart Bed sale. Every smart bed and base are on sale during our Memorial Day event, up to 50% off, limited time, exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. See store or sleepnumber.com for details.
Oh, in the NBA, that's
we have
not.
That?
That's
they're 8-8. That's nothing moral about it
because they played such a clunker the previous game, and they had dissension. Yeah,
that
there.
One guy wouldn't pass to Rudy.
Yeah, so Rudy, in a very mature fashion, decided to just walk out of the lane slow enough to get a 3-second called against him. They let you stand there for 5, but anyway, yes, they had dissension.
On Friday, on this day in history segment, we had a note about how the Fort Wayne Pistons went into a slowdown game to counter Mikan.
Yes,
and it was a 1918.
Led to the 24-second rule. Yes.
So MJ writes, Friday's This Day in History story about George Mikan drove me to the Google. In 1950, there were 10 teams in the NBA.
Ooh.
Only 2 remain in their respective locations today.
The Knicks.
You'd know that.
The Knicks and
the Celtics.
Yeah, that's right. So Detroit wasn't. Fort Wayne was.
We didn't get to the question yet.
Yeah, okay.
2 have folded altogether. I don't expect you to know this. No one would know
now,
this.
Now, what year is it? 60?
Well, he doesn't give me the dates when this stuff happened. You'll just know it when I read it to you. 2 have, I guess, since 1950. 2 have folded altogether. The Indianapolis Olympians and the Washington Capitals.
Okay.
The other 6 that remain are well-traveled, perhaps more than in any other professional sport.
You're asking me to name these.
No, I'm not. I didn't get there. I didn't get to the damn question yet.
I want to name them.
Well, you're not going to yet.
Okay.
You've already talked about the Pistons, because they went to Detroit, obviously.
Fort Wayne went
they
to
were
Detroit.
owned by a guy whose company made Pistons.
Yes, that's right. Fred Zollner.
That's it.
Fred Zollner.
All right. The Baltimore Bullets, which I remember from my childhood, are now the Washington Wizards. We know that. The Philadelphia Warriors are now, of course, the Golden State Warriors. The Syracuse Nationals are now the
Philadelphia 76ers.
All right. The Lakers we know about.
The Rochester Royals.
Are now?
They went to Cincinnati. Then they went to Kansas City.
Yep.
Then they went to Sacramento.
You are correct, sir. But here's the question.
Okay.
You've tried to answer every bleeping question that I never asked.
Okay.
Now I finally have the question. Okay. Name the traveling and where they ended up of the Tri-Cities Blackhawks.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
That was the question I tried to get to.
But that's before 1960. That's before 1950.
I don't care what the date was. They're still a team today. The Tri-Cities Blackhawks have become a team today. Wow. What was their genealogy?
Okay, I'm guessing the St. Louis Hawks, the Milwaukee Hawks. No, the Milwaukee Hawks, the St. Louis Hawks, and then the Atlanta Hawks. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right on the Atlanta part. The Tri-Cities Blackhawks, who started life in a different league in Buffalo, New York, moved to Moline, Illinois,
Okay.
Moved to Milwaukee, moved to St. Louis, Bob Pettit and the Hawks,
Yes,
right?
right.
And then now are the Atlanta Hawks.
So I was pretty close.
You were close.
Pretty close, yes.
Would it
but
be
I
even
was,
better if you waited for the question?
But what are the Tri-Cities? Are those the...
Tri-Cities would be
I think
Davenport, Moline.
Yes, and then we now call it the Quad Cities because we added, I think Bettendorf got
Bettendorf's in there.
They got big.
added, but it was Dubuque, Waterloo, and who's the other one?
Those must have been really unexciting games.
Moline. Well, when they didn't...
Compared to what these guys can do today. That
Yes,
has to...
oh, God, yes. They throw it in the post, and they go like this. But do you know that did give us the 24-second clock? Yes, holding the ball.
Yes.
George.
Yes.
But, yeah, it's... it was a little slower game. There's
Well, wait
no
a
doubt
minute.
about it.
No, I didn't even think of this. During that Fort Wayne Minneapolis game when Fort Wayne held the ball,
No shot clock.
how did the other team get the ball back?
Well, once in a while they'd go out and make them do something and hope they threw the ball away or something. The Lakers pretty much, what was it, 1918, something like that, 1916?
Something like that.
But, yeah, it was because of George that they held the ball. And I don't know how they went out and forced it, but...
Can you imagine being at that game? Having paid 50
that
cents?
happened. That was still happening in college.
Yeah.
We only went to the clock in college basketball in Dean Smith won one of his championships when they were still running that shuffle.
That's right.
With Phil Ford and those guys. So you could still kill the clock in late 80s? Late 80s? The three-point play came in before the shot clock. I think. I might be wrong. I can't remember when the shot clock came in.
Caleb Williams for the Bears is going to be a hell of a player if he gets what? Help?
I think if he gets a little help, a little mature, he's got an amazing stat. When he gets blitzed, he has a much higher completion percentage than when he doesn't get blitzed.
That's a hell of a stat.
So when he has time, he
can't throw
he
it.
can't throw, but when he's rushed and doesn't think about things, he's throwing pretty good. That throw he made down the right sideline when he was scrambled to that Swift, dropped it right in his hands. That was an unbelievable throw. He's talented, but here's the trouble, Joe.
The Bears are hapless.
Well, and plus, now they bring him in with this Eberflus as coach, and they bring in a new offensive coordinator to work with him. They're disappointed in him. They fire him. And I think this was the first week with the new guy, Tom Brown, who was on their staff. But Eberflus is going to get fired. Everybody knows it. So his staff's going to get blown out. So Williams will have worked with three guys in after playing 17 games. He's going to end up having to work with a new staff again next year or so. And I think as complicated as NFL football is now, that's a big deal to work with the same guy a little bit once in a while, right?
Yes.
So anyway, but he's a talented kid. There's no doubt about it. And when you looked at it, I think I saw him the first couple games of the year for a while, and he was terrible. He was missing guys by 12 feet, and he's definitely an improved fellow. But do you think any time in the Viking history that they blew a 10-point lead, 11-point lead in that few of seconds?
Not in that short a time.
What was it, Kyle? 35 seconds?
What was that?
seconds?
Sorry.
When they blew the 11-point lead, it was what, 35 seconds or something?
I felt like a minute, but yeah, probably.
Less than a minute. Yeah, it was 35 seconds. And they blew an 11-point lead. But they're spunky enough to come back and get.
Well, it helped that the Bears collapsed when they got the ball, right? I mean,
yes, they did.
That sack
they
and
got sacked and
the penalty.
Two, if not more, but two interesting games remain on the Vikings schedule. The last two, December 29th, Packers
at our place, right?
and
at Detroit.
at Detroit for the last game of the year.
Yes,
January 5th. That could be a barn burner.
Still could be deciding the number 1 seed. But we were a little nervous about coming home to face Kyler Murray and the Arizonas. And then yesterday they got 6 points. What was that?
Yeah, he got hit early.
You know what? Judd and I figured it out. What happened?
Okay.
He was last year. The accusation against him was when they were having their meetings, offensive meetings, he was playing video games.
No.
He was in there playing video games.
He wasn't being attentive.
Paying no attention. Well, this week, a new Call of Duty game just came out, right?
Yeah.
And we're figuring that he spent the whole week playing Call of Duty instead of paying attention to the game plan. And, that's...
Someone's got to teach those 12-year-olds what's up on the internet.
Yes, that's right. So, anyway, yeah, they're 9-2. How are they 9-2? I don't know. They're pretty good, but they also, the last 2 weeks before this week, the games were closer than they should have been.
Right.
They had 400 and some yards in one game and still had a chance to lose. And then this game, they had won. They're ready to go home. Everybody's going to get in the bus. And then all of a sudden the lead is gone. It was really weird, to say the least.
It turned out to be a fun game.
Yes, and that Chicago crowd, the ones that stuck around, was really happy and excited, and then the Bears became the Bears.
That's a raucous crowd.
You know that they've now won 5 in a row in Soldier Field, the Vikings. Mm-hmm. Before that, they have lost 13 out of 14 in Soldier Field. And some weird outcomes.
Yeah, because those were some bad Bears teams.
Bad quarterbacks
Trubisky.
and stuff. But now they've beaten them 5 in a row. So,
do you guys have any good Soldier Field memories being the last year for the stadium?
None of my memories of Soldier Field are fond. Oh, I do have one where Bud never liked to be too early for a game.
Yes.
And so they left for a Monday night game. I was on the bus, and they left possibly a little too late.
Stuck on the Lake Shore
They're
Drive.
right
traffic,
there, and
right?
he had that driver drive right up on the bus, right on the sidewalk.
Really?
Get on the sidewalk. Get on the sidewalk right now. Let's go. And they're driving. People are fleeing for their lives. Cop was leading them. They went right up on the sidewalk.
Really? Wow.
Did you think the NFL doesn't have power?
Because one of his trips to the Silverdome, right?
Yeah.
They were late. They ended up penalizing him 15 yards for missing a kickoff. He was late because he wouldn't let. I think if you wanted to take a cab out there, you could do it, right? But the team bus left. He wanted you to get there in 45 minutes before kickoff and hurry up and get dressed and run out and run around for 10 minutes and be ready to play.
But the other one I have is, I've told you this one, the kid I used to have took 2 young guys to a game, Vikings game at Chicago.
Oh, yes.
And there was a guy in a
We
bear.
didn't have him in Viking War garb, did we?
The kid had a Diggs jersey on, which terrified me.
Okay.
But that wasn't the story. The story was behind them was a guy in a bear costume.
Okay.
But a real bear costume with fangs and yellowed teeth and glowing eyes. It was terrifying.
How old were the boys?
Well, they were, grade school, and then he took them.
And underneath that uniform, he was drunk.
Oh God, yes. And then he took him to the can, and that was an adventure. Just people were screaming and brawling and missing the target for the. Most
of mine, Kyle, were they had you park. They didn't give you good parking if you were media for the Bears. The local boys might have, but the visitors. We were over on this platform that was behind the whole parking lot on what would be the side facing Comiskey Park. What side of town? South. Facing south. And it was over there. So when you walked back in, you'd walk this down this ramp, and then you'd walk 150 yards in the parking lot of drunk Bear fans. And they would recognize that you were carrying stuff that indicated you were a reporter, and you would be called many, many filthy names. And the sexual preference would be, especially if you were girthy, if you were a fat guy like me. Yeah, full figured. That really fired them up. That was always fun to have that. And then, but I was there for in '85 when they were the greatest defense that's ever played football. Yeah. I was there for both their home playoff games. Against the Giants and who? They beat the Giants in the final. Who they beat? The Rams. I think the Rams were there. And Rams were still in L.A., and then they left, and then they came back. But both games, the wind was howling. It was 20 degrees, and these poor visiting teams are out there playing against this monstrous defense. And that was the game when Sean Landetta, the punter for the Giants, went to kick the ball and it blew away from his foot. The wind was blowing so hard, and he missed it, and it went and he got submerged 12 guys, and God, they were mean.
Is their new ballpark a done deal?
They're going to build it there, right?
Yeah,
and so they're going to
tearing down that stadium.
They're pretty much down to the studs. And they were supposed to go out to Arlington Park, and then the city raised all kinds of hell, and the state of Illinois raised all kinds of hell.
Isn't a Veterans Memorial that stadium?
Yeah, well, I think we might leave up a little banner.
We need some naming rights in 2025.
Yeah.
Gophers didn't
but
leave up a
it's going to
name.
take. So where are they going to play for 3 years? Last time they went down to Champaign and played down there.
Yeah.
Played at Illinois for 3 years, but maybe they're going to play at Northwestern. I don't know. Northwestern's building the new,
right?
But they're not done yet, right? Northwestern building the new stadium,
and they're building theirs on the site of the old one.
Yes, and they're playing their games this year on the practice field down on the lake, which is they put 10,000 in. That'd be big enough for them. It's beautiful too. It's beautiful, but. They got to have some place to play. I don't know where they're going to play.
Yeah, in April 2024, it still wasn't settled. So I'm sure they'll figure
it out. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, if Northwestern doesn't have a stadium, they're going to have to go to Champaign, unless they want to go to Green Bay and play in Lambeau.
Or Milwaukee.
Yeah, Milwaukee playing the...
What about Notre Dame? Did you say Notre Dame?
Oh, Notre Dame, maybe. That's right. I saw they want to... Notre Dame's trying to decide whether they want...
away, isn't it?
Yeah, but Notre Dame's trying to decide whether they want to let them in or not.
I wouldn't. Those guys, that Bears fans would wreck that place.
But Notre Dame for years was the home team for Chicago because it was such a Catholic town, and the Polish and half their team came from Chicago, and they were Chicago Tribune used to have a beat writer, for the Notre Dame.
Of course,
they were big, and I don't think they still do. Maybe they do.
I think the Chicago Tribune has joined the newspapers that don't have a physical location. They might have a little building somewhere.
Yeah, they do. They don't have they sold the tower, 20 years ago, maybe. They had one time, Chip Scoggins told me this. He was a kid there. They had 6 prep reporters, 6 high school reporters when he was there full time. And a couple of years ago, they had 6 sports writers. And total.
I went one time to the tower to visit Royko.
Oh, really?
And they told me...
Was he a little...
no, I walked right up to his office, but he was napping.
Okay.
In a couch, and they said, we can't wake him up right now.
So you never got to see
never
him?
got to talk to him. I talked to him on the phone a couple times, but never in person.
He was something. Do you know that this great Red Sox documentary that we both watched on Netflix, did you watch it yet? The Red Sox.
The comeback one?
The comeback.
I don't think I have seen that one.
Oh, it's great. It's about 2004.
Yeah.
Barnacle's kid is the writer and producer of the thing. Barnacle's kid. Barnacle had to leave for he could only write about certain topics, right? Because he did
in trouble for something.
Something. I think something was considered sexist. But God, he was good.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. But I don't know. Then he just gave it up and ended up being on TV and stuff like that, and wrote syndicated stuff. But
Your Wild are a hell of a road team.
what is going on here?
I don't know.
The other day, I'm out watching the granddaughter's hockey game.
Yep.
Against your Bears, by the way. The big white.
Well, they're not my bear.
White
I don't
Bear Lake.
live. I've never
They
lived in
come out of
White
that-
Bear Lake.
They're a little huskier than our girls
Big
from
girls?
East Ridge.
A lot of
Not
milk.
big, but a little huskier. But they wear that orange.
Yep.
It's kind of frightening.
It is.
And I'm watching that game saying, I hope Billy Butter's granddaughter isn't out there. She'll knock the crap out of this kid. Well, apparently we'd scrimmaged them and done well the first time. We got hammered the other night, 5-2.
Where was she played?
She was in Woodbury, at the big arena they have there with 2 rinks and soccer.
Where is that arena in Woodbury?
It's on Bay. It's south of the freeway, 2 miles probably, and it's over there next to East Ridge High School. And
Okay, I know where it is. Isn't it part of a giant athletic complex?
Yes.
All right, I know where it is.
And we have as you go to watch a junior varsity soccer game and then a varsity soccer game, we also have 7,000 youngsters next door playing some form of soccer.
That's right.
And so we got
I know exactly where it
big
is.
soccer
Yeah.
hall there. This is a message to everyone listening right now. I have an announcement for you. I need just 5 of you listening to do me and yourselves a favor. I need you to take advantage of a free offer. Seriously, free. I need you to call Josh Arnold at 952-925-5608 and tell him Ricey sent you. Josh will meet you for free and give you advice on investing, handling, and making money. He'll answer any and all of your questions about retirement, your 401k, your IRA, or retirement savings, and it's free. Call Josh now, 952-925-5608. But you got to tell him Ricey sent you. Then call me afterward and thank me for giving you this free service.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Patrick Reusse is a paid endorser.
The Canopy Group is a unique insurance company in that it offers 16 carefully selected companies for home and auto insurance. Would you be satisfied if the only dessert you could have this holiday season was Grandma's fruitcake? That would be like having one agent representing one company in the home and auto insurance business. At the Canopy Group, they get that it's all about options. That's why they offer 16 companies. In addition, they have 40 licensed elves, that's their version of workers, working behind the scenes to ensure that you always have the best coverage at the best price. This holiday season, don't get stuck with just the fruitcake. Get yourself some dessert options. Give the Canopy Group a call at 1-800-967-3389 or visit thecanopygroup.com. That's thecanopygroup.com. Anyway, the other grandparents are big wild boosters, and they go to games and stuff. And they were down 3-1, 2 minutes to go. They lost. Nope, they tied it. Boom, boom. They scored one with 16 seconds.
That
to go.
lost in the shootout.
They've lost one real game, one game out of 12 or 13 on the road. That's considered a loss.
If you get a point, I guess it's not considered a loss.
You get a point out of it. That's which makes for a lot of.
They
teams.
have Winnipeg tomorrow. They can't catch. Winnipeg's got a lot of points.
2 best teams in the league, points wise, right now. They're number 2 in the league, points wise. You know what it is? The whatever division we're in, I don't know what we call it.
Let me look it up.
The NHL.
I'd like to know.
Western.
Central. Wilder in the Central.
The Central Division of the NHL is the NFC North of the NHL because they got the 2 best teams in football in the NFC North this year, Detroit and the Vikings, and now we have the two best teams in hockey, the Jets and the Wild.
And the Wild have lost one less game than the Winnipegs. Winnipeg's have lost 4.
They've lost 4, but I don't think they've
won
had
4.
I don't think they've had many.
But they've lost a straight. Those are 4 real losses.
Yes, but I don't think they've had as many
Overtime losses.
wins. They haven't had as many overtime wins either, where they gave the other team a point. I don't believe. Anyway,
Winnipeg has 17 wins. The Wild have 13 wins. And then Wild have 4 overtime losses, and Winnipeg have none.
Western Conference Central Division. And they have Winnipeg tomorrow. They can take a dent at the Winnipeg.
yes, that's
That would if they beat Winnipeg, they'd only be 2 points behind them.
that game is not tonight. Huh?
1, isn't it?
That's
It's a 3 for a
tomorrow.
win in the NHL.
What?
3 for a win in the NHL.
No,
Is
no,
it only
2 points.
Two.
Tomorrow night. Wait a minute. It's tonight.
Yes,
Tonight?
that's what I thought.
It's tonight.
yes.
Winnipeg, 7
When you
o'clock,
were a
home
season
game.
only.
When you were a season ticket holder, you would have known that.
Yeah. No, if it was Calgary, I would have known it because I was the Calgary ambassador.
Yes, for some reason. You
Well,
ended
that's
up going.
tonight. Then they're at Buffalo and then home for 2.
But I think, as unexpected as the Wild has been, Winnipeg was equally unexpected. They weren't supposed to be a powerhouse, were they?
No, I don't think so.
I
no.
think, yeah.
Local connection on the Buffalo Sabres and familial connection for you, Patrick. Cousin Seth Appert, assistant coach
really?
for the Buffalo
Okay.
Sabres
Was
now.
his first year there?
First year, coming up from
Okay.
their minor league team in Rochester, the Americs.
Good for him.
Yep.
Yes, it's and hey, NHL. Jim Montgomery was fired in Boston. Shocked everybody because they had one of the great regular seasons ever last year. Got fired 6 days ago.
Right.
He's now your new coach of the St. Louis Blues.
Right. I didn't even think it took 6 days.
Well, I don't think it only took 5.
Yeah.
But it was 6 days he was fired. 5 days later. He'll never beat Boudreau's record, though. Boudreau
Yep.
got fired at noon, and at 6 he got a call from Anaheim and said, get on the plane. You're
Yeah.
going to be our new coach if you want to be. So,
Is he still in the league?
no, he's on TV once in a while.
Yeah.
He's not great on TV because he's
Can't swear.
Can't swear. Kind of nervous, but he's. I call him. What I called him a couple months ago. I still got his phone. I called him. He's great. He answers the phone, talks.
Yeah.
He's not necessarily done. I think he's had 6 jobs, but he's not necessarily done.
Mm-hmm.
He's 60-some, but 66 or so. But if you want that quick spark, I mean, he went to Vancouver. They were the worst team in the world. They ended up having the best record in the league when he first got out there. And then the next year they were okay, but they fired him. They basically just brought him in to make the quick fix and fired him. It's incredible, though, that league. When Evison was here I went over to listen to him talk when he was season opener. Columbus was here, St. Paul. And
That's where Everson is, isn't it?
yes, and we were talking with him, and of course we mostly were talking about Johnny Gaudreau getting killed and blah. But then he was talking, and he said something about, well, it's nice to get a second chance. And I said to him, you're in the club now.
Yeah.
I said, this is only your second team. You're gonna get at least 4. You know? So, and he laughed. He was pretty good about it. Yeah.
That wasn't the case, though. I mean, how long did Toe Blake last as the coach?
Oh, they all stayed.
They all stayed with one
But
team.
I think they were, the owners were the same guys, and they probably drank with them and, were buddies with them. Oh, yeah. They stayed forever because, I mean, think about it. This league, 1966-7
This is when they expanded.
was 67 and 8 was the first year. 66-7. This is what? How many years ago?
100 years ain't what it used to
60
be.
years ago.
Yeah.
Less than 60 years ago. It was a 6-team league.
6 teams.
That just the same guys owned them. One guy had a hunk of 2 teams.
Yeah.
And, one guy owned a hockey team and also was the the crook running boxing back. Right. His partner in running boxing, Jim Norris, was basically Frankie Carbo, who was Murder Incorporated. And
it wasn't much different than owning a movie theater or, the circus, right? You just had a thing and you were trying to sell tickets on a Saturday night.
And they, who was the old Blackhawks owner? Wirtz?
Wirtz, Bill Wirtz.
He wouldn't let him be on TV.
No, that people weren't.
When they were in the Stanley Cup in '62 or '3, you had to buy a ticket and go to a movie theater and watch it closed circuit.
Yes. Yeah, he did. He thought the people wouldn't show up. Well, that was Calvin's theory when they came here. Mm-hmm. They had, for 6-7 years, at least 6-7 years, the only home games ever televised were 4 Friday night games in like June or July. Once, they'd have 4 Friday night games. Those were the only home games. Because you weren't going to come. You know what? You might have been right, too, because, the tickets were $3-4, and us cheap Swedes were saying, I'm not going to, go. And then they'll get me another $2 for parking. What the hell? Right. And a beer going to cost me 50, 40, 50 cents. Yeah, right. I'm not going to go out there.
All they had was they had dreamsicles.
Yeah, right.
And cold hot dogs.
Yeah, that's right. They had
we get malt cups?
They had the malt cup where you needed a... You had to be an oil driller to get it. A malt cup. The nice thing, you give your kid a malt cup and take him an hour to drink and eat it, I used to bring my kids out there when I was covering the team in the 70s. And on Saturdays, they'd come with me with a buddy of theirs. And they would just run around like idiots for an hour. And I'd go down and have a couple of drinks after the game, come up and drink. Come up right in my column. They were running all over the place. Chris, the youngest, still has a big scar right in the middle of his forehead from banging into one of those things. One of the barriers
those
in there.
Pillars.
Banged into it, split his head open. He's bleeding. We find him a towel. I said, I need another half hour, guys. Then we'll take him to the hospital, but I got to finish this.
Did he get stitched up?
Oh, yeah. He had stitches in there. But
I bet Mom wasn't happy.
No, Mom wasn't happy. They didn't do that good a job either because they didn't make it tight because he still got a little scar right in the middle of his head 50 years later.
All right.
What else we got? We got
Joel
we could talk
Damon,
about the Vegas F1. How about my boy George Russell? I know you guys stayed up all night.
They had a great crowd. You know what?
I think they had a good crowd until about 2 a.m. And then once they got towards the finish, they weren't showing a lot of crowd shots.
What time did it get done?
About 2. Well, I think 1:30.
What happened?
Our time. It started at midnight because they wanted it to be on TV in Europe, right?
I saw a tweet from this Vegas account I follow. The strip joints did nothing.
Huh?
They doing no business because everybody was, they came and.
Standing out watching the car go.
Watching the cars go by. Who won it?
George Russell, my boy.
Who the hell is he?
Mercedes. He'll be Mercedes' #1 driver next year when Lewis Hamilton goes to Ferrari.
Is he ours?
No, he's an Englishman.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't know.
Did you watch Drive to Survive? You got to watch. If you watch Drive to Survive, you'll get into it.
Verstappen wins every race. Who cares? Is that the nice pronunciation?
Was this George's 4th victory?
I believe it's his 4th victory, 2nd this year, and then he had the other one they won.
They finally started beating that guy once in a while. Verstappen.
Yeah, Max got the championship this weekend, but the car fell out.
Red Bull?
Yep, Max is the
Red Bull.
Is Red Bull Honda?
Honda Red Bull is the second team. That's they call the second team Honda Red Bull. Yeah.
Right. I have discovered a website or a streaming site that only costs like $3-4 a month, Viaplay, which is Norwegian, Scandinavian, Denmark mystery series mostly, because I got into one and it was pretty good. Viaplay.
Subtitles?
So now I get it. Yeah, subtitles. Now I get it. But when you look at they only got about 40 shows total.
Right.
8 of them are about Max. 8 of them are about Max. Max is this, Max is that.
Max is vacation home.
Yes, Max is. 8 of them are about F1, and the others are all dour mysteries.
I love that Scandinavian mystery.
Oh God, they are all. There's always some. There's
Ever
always
read Smilla's Sense of Snow?
No, but I saw the movie.
Oh, boy. Very dark.
Very depressing.
Ooh.
Because the neighbor farmer can never be trusted.
You can't trust the neighbor's farm.
Farmer, you go over there.
Henning Mankell, you ever read him?
Oh, yes.
Well, you never trusted the neighbor's farm.
No. And Mankell would be, but yeah, the kids would go over and they'd kind of visit and mom it around, but then all of a sudden the kid would disappear.
That's
and
right.
He'd be in a underground dungeon someplace. With
terrible.
The farmers were not trustworthy. That's the Norwegians are all like that.
I think those Scandinavian
giggles.
authors had troubled upbringing.
Yes. Who?
They love the torture scenes with weird things like pitchforks and stuff.
Well, the one that what's the guy's that played Ken? Whatchamacallit played him on PBS. What's the?
I don't know what you're thinking of.
One. Ken Branagh played him on TV. Kenneth.
Not the girl with the dragon tattoo stuff.
No. This was way more depressing than that.
That wasn't depressing. It was exhilarating. It was a thrill ride.
Yes. Yeah, it was good.
Kurt Wallander.
Kurt Wallander.
Kurt Wallander's Henning Mankell's cop.
Wallander had
Yeah.
Wallander had about 3 different variations on TV.
Yeah.
But the one with Branagh on PBS was depressing as hell, and then, just for a little twist, the last year they gave him Alzheimer's, and then he was trying to solve crimes with Alzheimer's that were
Are they
vile,
still
terrible.
available to see?
Oh yeah, Wallanders. You can find them various places.
Netflix, maybe?
Yeah, or
Carl Wallander.
Wallander. There's 3 or 4.
He was Max Henning Mankell's creation.
Creator. Okay. Well, he's there's no happiness in his life.
Was there any distrust of adjoining farms?
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah. He lived he kind of retired and went out to the country to live by himself near the water. And the only neighbors he had were not trustworthy.
Not trustworthy.
No, that's right. Yeah, it's a good depressing Norwegian stuff. If you ever really want to, if you ever find yourself being too happy, you want to watch a couple of those shows. They're great.
I can't wait to get to see a TV again. I'm an expert. I told her Mickey's in prison. Minnie called him. Minnie called the cops. Mickey's in jail. He stole a car. He's not on today. I just couldn't take it anymore. No more Mickey.
To the kids?
Yeah, he's in jail.
Mickey Mouse?
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse?
He's in prison.
I didn't know Mickey.
Well, they got an 18-month-old. They love Mickey.
Oh, really? Okay.
I said, no, he's in jail.
Did the 18-year-old understand?
18-month-old.
18-month-old understand?
Not really, but it shut her up.
Pat's not reading Saturdays with Souch on the town council. He would have got this story.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Yeah.
Mickey went to prison.
There's nothing quite as fun, and that's the trouble with having the grandkids now, 15 and 14.
Yeah.
You can't needle.
Yeah.
You can't. It doesn't work.
They get a little sensitive about it at that age, right?
They were great. You could tease them. That's half the fun.
Oh, I got one believing that Santa has a drone that's over our house.
Okay, and looking
he's
for behavior.
Listening to everything.
Yes, right.
He hears some crying, you're in trouble.
That's not Santa, that's the NSA.
No presents this year.
No.
No presents this year. So,
Anyway, that's enough.
All right, I better sell some cars.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers. I told you last week, I looked through the whole inventory that they had on the grounds. This is not used cars, new ones. 103 vehicles out there in Apple Valley right now. And a lot of them are trucks, man, these big honking Sierra trucks. And there's substantial rebates on the trucks. There's also the Canyon trucks, the smaller one. And, of course, endless SUVs, 4 different sizes, terrific. And the right now, as I say, the interest rates are low, 0.9, 1.9, and the big rebates are going. Go out there. You can make a deal right now with their experienced, wonderful sales staff. And we even have the best truck guy in town there out there at Apple Valley. We just broke something here. If this was Jim Paul, Brett Paul, they'd fix that right now. But anyway, Jim Paul, Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers. Check them out right now. Big stock, low prices, high interest, high rebates, and low interest rates. And they're in Hastings and Apple Valley.